Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from Deltiasgaming.com. Today we're going to talk about Oblivion Portals, currently on the public test server for the Elder Scrolls Online new chapter Blackwood, coming out in June of 2021. I spent a few hours now tracking these down, completing them, finding the secrets, and understanding the incentive, the play loop that makes you want to do these repeatedly, and I wanted to share what I've learned. Oblivion Portals are absolutely fantastic to play through, but I want to break them down further on what we know, so when this launches in June, you know exactly how these things work, what to do, and how to get access to them. So the first thing up is finding the Oblivion Portals, and it's quite different. So think of them as a massive public dungeon, if you will. The difference is that dolmens are very easy telegraphed. There's a huge shooting laser beam thing that goes up in the air. You can see it throughout the zone. You hear the sound effect, everyone rushes and zergs down the dolmen, right? Very, very easy to find. And dolmens are not at random. This is the exact opposite. So it's going to be spawning these Oblivion Portals. I don't know how many spawn per zone, but they were pretty tough to track down. In fact, we rode around for about a couple hours one time, didn't find one, and then we found them just bang right away. So think of these as random and also without a big telegraph. As you approach and ride up to one, you will hear a distinct sound effect. You'll see a little reddish orangish glow that shows you the portals, but it's not nearly the same size and scope telegraph that you'd get from a dolmen, so it might take a little bit of time. The best way I've found to get these and find these quickly is outside the town. So not necessarily inside the town, never saw them spawn there, but there's a couple spots, there's wide open spaces. It seems like it really has a high propensity to spawn there. So if I were you and I was looking for this, I would spread out, also use zone to your advantage. Say, hey zone, anyone find an Oblivion portal? But I would look in those little areas that have a big, wide open space, just mobs, and are not around any towns or any quest zones. It seems to be where they're dense and where they spawn most likely. Okay, so you found one, you hear the little sound, you kill the mobs, you go inside. Now, when you go inside, it's absolutely amazing. The graphics, sound effects, and feel, it is sick. The mobs appear overwhelming, but think of this as a public dungeon in terms of difficulty, so I can solo it just fine. But it looks great and kind of gets you amped up like it's super exciting. So what you need to know once you get inside, there's going to be a ton of mobs and multiple pathways to explore. So keep in mind, it's not going to be the exact same little instance every single time. There are some variations. I don't know how many variations there are. It seems a decent amount. So you can expect a little bit of different pathways. Another thing to keep in mind is you can travel to a player or a friend who's already inside and found one. So make sure, again, use zone, use guild to your advantage so you can all participate in this. Bro, we got this. Another YouTuber and streamer and I went and explored, fully explored some. Looked at all the side paths, didn't rush through it. We took our time, explored the treasure chest, and we found a secret boss I'll kind of share with you in a minute. So as you go explore, you'll find various mobs, and they'll kind of ramp up in intensity, ramp up in density, and you'll also find some treasure chests and a really important one at the very end, though they kind of seem pretty sparse. The treasure chests contain the Blackwood Overland set, which I'll cover in a little bit, but you'll keep making your way, finding a little more portals and continuing to advance. Just consider they're going to be more dense, a little bit harder to kill, but it shouldn't be too challenging for experienced players or a group. Kind of feels like the final quest of the main storyline. No spoilers here, but you get this epic charging through to the final boss, kind of progressing, ramping up your power in your quest to close the portal. It's a sick feel. So after you clear a couple portals, you clear a bunch of mobs, you'll be inside of like a building looking thing. At first I had no idea what its function was. We kind of explored around a few times. And then Bra and I kind of figured out that you have to interact with the Fire Colossus and click them in a certain order, and then it'll spawn a secret boss that you can kill. Now the secret boss is pretty damage dealing, so you don't want to be too close to it. But you'll interact with those four, you'll kill those 4 Fire Colossus, you'll get this secret boss, and you'll get an achievement, which is really cool. It'll also spawn another treasure chest, so if you're running through this, you probably want to kill that secret boss every time, assuming that it gives you a treasure chest every time you kill it. We also took some time to look in the Blackwood achievement section of the journal and couldn't find too much achievements or collectibles, so unless I'm missing something, that's a bit disappointing, because usually that's a good indicator of what you are to find or what secrets you can get. Moving along, you'll go on that inner thing, you'll do that secret boss, get a treasure chest, cool, move along and kind of just destroy everything to the final boss. The final boss is pretty standard fare. Besides looking extremely gorgeous and super cool, it's not that challenging. Basically what happens is you get to the final platform, you kill a bunch of ads, the boss appears. The boss doesn't have too much HP, but it puts up a damage shield at certain HP thresholds and will summon some ads that you have to deal with. And then you can push the boss's HP down again and continue the fight. It seems to be about 3 stages, but I was with some folks and we dropped about 3 Destro Alts at once and killed it in 5 seconds and kind of skipped those mechanics. So just keep in mind, it seems like you can push it over, but if you're a little bit slower in DPS, you might have to pause, look at the HP bar to see if it's invulnerable, and that's how you kind of move beyond it. And if you're watching this and you're on the public test server, just realize this is pretty buggy. So sometimes the boss bugs out and you can reset it by just walking out the distance and kind of coming back and being able to complete it. So you might have to do that sometimes, but hopefully on launch it'll be a lot better. So you kill the boss, sick. You smash the portal at the end. It's a really cool effect. And allow you to collect a treasure chest and move out of the portals. There's 3 different little portal looking things you can exit out. There's nothing to those. We didn't go to any different spot, so it ports you out right to where you came in. So there's no secret to taking the left one or a west one or whatever. And then also keep in mind that while this is a public dungeon pretty much, you can explore. So after you kill the final boss, if you want to go tool around, check out the size and check out the area, feel free. It's really cool. So that brings up the big question. And the big question I had is, why would I do these Oblivion Portals over and over and over? Because usually when the DLC launches or I get to test something on the public test server, it's a lot of fun to kind of blaze through there. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this every day, all day. Oblivion Portals seems like that. But beyond the story, beyond the initial thrill, what am I going to do these for? Well, really, it's the new gear sets that are pretty powerful. I'll break them down in 2 little sections here. So first we have the Overland gear sets in Blackwood. Looks like there's 3 sets. They come in this chapter, and you can get the jewelry specifically from the final boss. And there are plenty of treasure chests throughout, so I got a lot of weapons, a lot of jewelry for these 3 sets. So I imagine what folks will do is kind of what they do for dolmen farms right now. They go from dolmen to dolmen to dolmen, killing all this stuff, collecting it, and then flipping it and selling on the traders. And if we look at these 3 Overland sets, I imagine Bog Raider will have some use and some folks will get it. 10-second cooldown, this is all subject to change, but 10-second cooldown, I don't know if I would use it or not, but some folks might. And the Frostbite, I think, will be really highly sought after, especially for Frost Wardens that might be using Force Pulse, so I think that's going to be a really good set. People are going to want to have that. And then Deadlands Assassin, I did test this along with the other sets, and it was pretty meh. You can't even really see the animation, and the dot ticks very, very slowly over 13 seconds, so I don't see a huge use for that. But a couple of them you're going to want to get and probably collect. Another reason you're going to want to come and do Oblivion Portals is the chance to get leads for the new powerful Mythics. Here's an image of some that we already know of, but I know I personally got Death Dealer's Fate lead from doing the last boss in Oblivion Portals, which leads me to believe there may be 1 or more, so big incentive to come get these. This is a little bit of overview of the Oblivion Portals and kind of why you would come down here, how to get it, what to do when you're inside. It seems like a lot of fun. The story in this chapter so far has been really, really good. And so there is some new useful sets and some gear that you're going to want to collect and probably sell. So I imagine that's going to be the main premise to do replayability down here. But I'll be covering more stuff on the public test server, specifically companions, as I kind of play with them. I need to learn a little bit more about them. So stay tuned to this channel if you want to learn about kind of what's coming out in June, chapter 30, Blackwood, because you'll get it here. Thanks for watching.